Hi folks, welcome to your 8.3 video. We're going to talk about the derivatives of trigonometric functions. All right. And so our skills that we want to be able to master by the end of today, we want to be able to find derivatives of sine and cosine. Okay. And we want to use what we know about trig functions to find derivatives of other trig functions. And then we want to use derivatives of trig functions to find rates of change and extrema. All right. So we're pulling together a lot of stuff from 8.1, 8.2, but also things from your Calc 1 days. Okay. So let's get started. All right. So let's start off with some derivative formulas that we already know. All right. So what we know. All right, so if we take the derivative of x to some power, right, we should know we're thinking this is power rule. So we're going to bring the power down, keep the x, and then lose one from the power, all right? All right, what else do we know? We know that if we take the derivative of e to the x, we end up with e to the x. And we know that if we take the derivative of natural log x, we end up with 1 over x. Okay, so these are sort of our basic rules. And then with these, we learn to use product rule. You learn to use quotient rule. And maybe most important of all, you learn how to use chain rule. Okay, so for those of us that maybe had a really great Calc 1 experience, I think you probably feel really solid on all of these. But if there's any rule that you're not feeling good on, probably the best one to go back and really study is that chain rule. Okay, so go back, study that chain rule. But these are all things that we know. All right, but way, way back, like dig back into your brains to like week 4, maybe week 3 of your Calc 1 class. You learned something called the formal definition of the derivative, and it looked something kind of like this. F prime of x equals the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. Okay, so this was our formal definition of the derivative. Okay, now don't worry, we are actually not going to be doing that, but I want us to kind of just think through a process. Okay, so this is what we know and what's new. All right, what's new is that we can use this definition of a derivative to say, I want to find the derivative of sine of x. And I could find that if I took the limit as h approaches 0 of sine of x plus h minus sine of x all over h. All right, that works. We're not going to do it, but it works. Okay, and same thing, if I find the derivative of cosine, I could go through the formal definition, take the limit as h approaches 0 of cosine of x plus h minus cosine of x all over h. Right? Now, if you want to nerd out a little bit, you're like really curious, if you look up formal definition for the derivative of sine and cosine, you'll find plenty of videos that actually talk you through that process, okay? But that's not something we need to know. But what do we need to know? We need to know the rules here inside this box, okay? So, derivative of sine. It turns out that the derivative of sine is cosine. Okay. And it turns out that the derivative of cosine is negative sine. Right? I want us to make sure that we know that there's a negative sign right there. That's super, super important. Okay. Now, this is if we just have x. right? So these two are just for x, like you have sine x, cosine x, all right? But what happens if maybe we need to look at using chain rule, right? Then we add on a little bit more. We call this the generalized form, okay? And so if we have sine of something, it's going to be cosine of something times the derivative of your inner function, okay? Same thing here for derivative of cosine of something. You're going to have negative sine times the derivative of the inside piece, okay? So we can do a lot of the same things that we did before with our derivatives. Chain rule still applies, but now we're going to get to practice it in the context of all these other rules, okay? So here we go. All right, let's take a look at this example number 1. Find the derivative of cosine x. All right, well, that is just the rule from the other page. So derivative of cosine x is negative sine x. Okay. All right, derivative of sine x. Well, this one is positive cosine x. Okay. And these two are pretty straightforward, but I did want to start with just like, do we know the rules, right? That's always a good place to start. All right, now if we look at 3 and 4, we'll see that they look kind of similar, except 3 has a 5 in the front and 4 has a negative 4 in the front, okay? So just as a friendly reminder, this is called our constant multiple rule, right? Where the 5 is the constant that we're multiplying. And so it's really the same thing as saying 5 times the derivative of sine, okay? And we know that the derivative of sine is cosine, so we get 5 cosine x, right? All right, now for number 4, it's going to be real similar. We do have another constant multiple, all right? But this time that constant multiple is a negative 4. Well, we can do the same thing. We can say negative 4 times the derivative of cosine. And we remember the derivative of cosine is negative sine. So we get negative 4 times negative sine x, which gives us negative times negative gives us a positive 4 sine x. Right? So there's our examples 1, 2, 3, and 4, looking at just the basic rule, layering on the constant multiple rule. Okay. Now the next 4 examples we're going to do are going to dive a little bit deeper, but here's what I don't want us to worry about. Don't worry about simplifying, but worry about choosing the right rules off the get-go. Okay. So let's take a look at example 5. Derivative of sine of something that's not just x, right? This is my inside function, and my sine is my outside function, okay? So this is exactly, let me go back to that other page for a moment. This is this rule right here. Okay, sine of u, where u is our 5 minus 3x, okay? So remember, chain rule says we take the derivative of the outside function, so cosine of keep the inside the same, times the derivative of the inside. Derivative of 5 minus 3x is negative 3, okay? Now, here's where I do want us to make sure, like, this is the most that I ever really want us to simplify. This is a negative 3 times all of this. So the negative 3 actually goes in the front, kind of like this negative 4 did, kind of like this 5 did, okay? So we're going to have negative 3 cosine of 5 minus 3x, right? But what I don't want us to do, this -3 does not go into the 5 minus 3x, because like you're cosigning the 5 minus 3x and then you're multiplying it by -3. Okay, so the order there is actually really important. All right, let's take a look at example 6. Find the derivative of sine x divided by 2x to the fourth minus 3x. Okay, well, when I look at this, I am thinking quotient rule. Okay, and maybe it's been a while since we've seen our quotient rule. So let's go ahead and write that down, that it is g f prime minus f g prime over g squared, right? So let's set up for our quotient rule. F is our sine x, and g is 2x to the fourth minus 3x. Okay. Now f prime, using our new rule, is going to be cosine x. And our g prime, using power rule that we've known for a long time now, is going to be 8x cubed minus 3. Okay. Now we plug these all into our quotient rule. We get g times f prime minus f times g prime all over g squared. Okay. Here's where I don't want you to simplify. Box it off, say, good job. You did something that looked pretty scary. Judy does not need you to simplify this. Mostly, I wanted to make sure you know your quotient rule and that your f prime and g primes were correct. Okay. All right, let's take a look at example 7 here. Now, this time I see that I don't have a quotient, but I have a product. And so I'm going to need to use our product rule. Okay. So product rule says we have fg prime plus gf prime. Okay. So let's set up for our product rule. F is cosine of 2x. And g is x to the fifth minus 3x squared. Okay. Let's find our g prime first. 5x to the fourth minus 6x. And then we're going to go ahead and find our f prime. Okay. But to find our f prime here, notice it's not just cosine of x, it's cosine of 2x. This means I got to use chain rule. Okay. So derivative of cosine is negative sine of 2x times the derivative of 2x, which is 2. And this is something I am going to ask us to simplify. We're going to bring the 2 to the front, negative 2 sine of 2x. Okay. But beyond that, we're going to plug everything into our product rule and we're going to leave it. So we have f times g prime plus g times f prime. And this is what we're going to box off and call our final answer. Okay, so things that I am looking for to give you points on, that you know which rule you're supposed to use, and that your f prime and your g prime, you found them accurately. Okay, so some of us may need to go back to our review of derivatives video from the beginning of the year, and that's fine, but make sure that we know how to use these new derivatives with the rules that we learned before. Okay. All right, let's do one last example here. We've got d dx, so the derivative of cosecant x, okay? But here's where we're going to use what we know about trig. So remember that cosecant is the same as 1 over sine x, okay? That identity is going to be what we use to now take our derivative. And so from here, I can see that I should probably use our quotient rule, okay? And let me set up for that. F is going to be 1, G is going to be sine x. Okay. Then my f prime is 0 and my g prime is cosine x. And now I'm going to plug everything into my quotient rule. So I'm going to have g times f prime minus f times g prime all over g squared. Okay. Now you could leave it like this, it would be fine, but let me show you a couple of things that you could simplify without too much effort. Sine x times 0 is going to be 0. So you can actually save yourself a little bit of ink and write negative cosine x on your numerator. And then the way we write sine x squared, you'll sometimes see it like this, sine squared x, okay? But sine x squared is the same as sine squared x, okay? So they're just two different ways of writing the same thing. And then this you can box off and leave as your final answer, okay? So let me get these all on one page for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we're going to stop this video here. Come on back for the second part where we take a look at some applications of how we're going to need to use our derivatives of trig. All right, see you there.